श्रीवाग्भवकूटजातचतुर्वेदस्वरूपिणीं शृङ्गारकमरजोद्भव सकलविश्वव्यापिनीं देवीं शक्तिबीजोद्भव मातृकानशरीरिणीं देवनुत भवरोगहरवैद्यपति हृदय विहारिणीं. रामानुजदयापात्रं ज्ञानवैराग्यभूषणं श्रीमद्वेङ्कटनाथार्यं वन्दे वेदान्तदेशिकं लक्ष्मीनाथसमारम्भां नाथयामुनमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्परां यो नित्यम् अच्युतपदाम्बुजयुग्मरुक्मव्यामोहतस्तदितराणि तृणाय मेने अस्मद्गुरोर्भगवतोऽस्य दयैकसिन्धोः रामानुजस्य चरणौ शरणं प्रपद्ये. माता पिता युवतयस्तनया विभूतिः सर्वं यदेव नियमेन मदन्वयानाम् आद्यस्य नः कुलपतेर्वकुलाभिरामं श्रीमत्तदङ्घ्रियुगलं प्रणमामि मूर्धना. भूतं सरश्च महदाह्वयभट्टनाथ श्रीभक्तिसार कुलशेखर योगिवाहान् भक्ताङ्घ्रिरेणुपरकाल यतीन्द्रमिश्रान् श्रीमत्पराङ्कुशमुनिं प्रणतोऽस्मि नित्यम्. नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयम् उदीरयेत्. व्यासं वसिष्ठनप्तारं शक्तेः पौत्रम् अकल्मषं पराशरात्मजं वन्दे शुकतातं तपोनिधिं. व्यासाय विष्णुरूपाय व्यासरूपाय विष्णवे नमो वै ब्रह्मनिधये वासिष्ठाय नमो नमः. अचतुर्वदनोर्ब्रह्मा द्विबाहुरपरो हरिः अपाललोचनः शम्भुः भगवान् बादरायणः. पाराशर्य वचस्सुधां सुमनसः दुग्धाब्धिमध्योद्धृतां संसाराग्निविदीपन व्यपगत प्राणात्म संजीवनीं पूर्वाचार्य सुरक्षितां बहुमतिं व्याघात दूरस्थितां आनीतां तु निजाक्षरैः सुमनसः भौमाः पिबन्त्वन्वहम्. निगमकल्पतरोर्गलितं फलं शुकमुखादमृतद्रव संयुतं पिबत भागवत रसमालय मुहुरहो रसिकाः भुवि भावुकाः. सान्द्रानन्दावबोधात्मकमनुपमिदं कालदेशावदिभ्यां निर्मुक्तं नित्यमुक्तं निगमशतसहस्रेण निर्भास्यमानम् अस्पष्टं दृष्टमात्रे पुनः उरु पुरुषार्थात्मकं ब्रह्मतत्त्वं तत्तावत् भाति साक्षात् गुरुपवनपुरे. हन्तभाग्यं जनानाम् अग्रे पश्यामि तेजो निबिडतरकला यावळी लोभनीयं पीयूषाप्लावितोऽहं तदनु तदुतरे दिव्यकैशोरवेशं तारुण्यारम्भरम्यं परमसुख रसास्वादरोमाञ्चिताङ्गैः आवीतं नारदाद्यैः विलसदुपनिषत्सुन्दरी मण्डलैश्च बाहुद्वन्द्वेन रत्नोज्ज्वलवलयभृता ಶೋಣಪಾಣಿ ಪ್ರವಾಳೇನೋಪಾತ ವೇಣುನಾಳೀಂ ಪ್ರಸೃತನಖಮಯೂಕಾಂಗುಲೀಂ ಸಂಗಶಾರಾಂ ಹೃತ್ವಾ ವಕ್ರಾರವಿಂದೇ ಸುಮಧುರವಿಕಸದರಾಗಮುದ್ಭಾವ್ಯ ಮಾನೈಃ ಶಬ್ದಬ್ರಹ್ಮಾಮೃತೈಃ ತ್ವಂ ಶಿಶಿರಿತಭುವನೈಃ ಸಿಂಚ ಸಿಂಚ ಮೇ ಕರ್ಣವೀಥೀಂ ಯೋಗೀಂದ್ರಾಣಾಂ ತ್ವದಂಗೇಷ್ವಧಿಕಸುಮಧುರಂ ಮುಕ್ತಿಭಾಜಾಂ ನಿವಾಸೋ ಭಕ್ತಾನಾಂ ಕಾಮವರ್ಷದ್ಯುತರುಕಿಸಲಯಂ ನಾಥ ತೇ ಪಾದಮೂಲಂ ನಿತ್ಯಂ ಚಿತ್ತಸ್ಥಿತಂ ಮೇ ಪವನಪುರಪತೆ ಕೃಷ್ಣ. ಕಾರುಣ್ಯ ಸಿಂಧೋ ಕೃಷ್ಣ ಕಾರುಣ್ಯ ಸಿಂಧೋ ಹೃತ್ವಾ ನಿಶೇಷತಾಪಾನ್ ಪ್ರದಿಶತು ಪರಮಾನಂದ ಸಂದೋಹಲಕ್ಷ್ಮೀ ಅಜ್ಞಾತ್ವಾ ತೇ ಮಹತ್ವಂ ಯದಿಹ ನಿಗದಿತಂ ವಿಶ್ವನಾಥ ಕ್ಷಮೇತಃ ಸ್ತೋತ್ರಂ ಚೈತತ್ ಸಹಸ್ರೋತ್ತರಮಧಿಕತರಂ ತ್ವತ್ಪ್ರಸಾದಾಯ ಭೂಯಾತ್ ವೇದಾನಾರಾಯಣೀಯಂ ಶ್ರುತಿಷು ಚ ಜನುಷಸ್ತುತ್ಯತಾ ವರ್ಣನೇನ ಸ್ಫೀತಂ ಲೀಲಾವತಾರೈರಿದಮಿತ ಕುರುತಾಂ ಆಯುರಾರೋಗ್ಯ ಸೌಖ್ಯಂ ಆಯುರಾರೋಗ್ಯ ಸೌಖ್ಯಂ ಜಾನಕೀಕಾಂತಸ್ಮರಣಂ. In the tithis that we all revere, yesterday was Ekadashi. Generally people fast that day. Today we can feast. So with more energy you have to say Janakikantasmaranam Gopika Jeevanasmaranam. We'll do it once more. I need more energy. Janakikantasmaranam Gopika Jeevanasmaranam. Namas Sadase, Namas Sabhayai. With the abundant blessings of Shriyapati Bhagavan, Paramatma, we have gathered to cherish and internalize the teachings as expounded by Shuka Brahmam, Shuka Maharishi in Srimad Bhagavata Mahapuranam. Yesterday was day 1. And in day 1, we got to witness the circumstances that led to the birth of Srimad Bhagavata Mahapuranam. We discussed about Uttara's Sharanagati to Krishna to protect the fetus, the Garbham. And Bhagavan as Vishnurata protected the Garbham. The larger subcontinent in Bharatadesham has been witness to the birth of various acharyas. Srimad Bhagavatam itself says, Kvachit Kvachin Mahabhaga Dramideshu cha Bhurishaha Tamraparni Nadiyatra Kritamala Payasvini Kaveri cha Mahapunya Pratichi cha Mahanidhi. This verse is there in Srimad Bhagavatam. So it's like a prophecy that says who all will be born in Kali Yugam in Bharatadesham. And Bharatadesham has been witness. It has been witness to a great mother called as Kaushalya. ஒருபகல் உலகெல்லாம் உதரத்துள் பொதிந்து அருமறைக்கு அரும் அவனை அஞ்சன கருமுகில் கொழுந்து எழில் காட்டும் சோதியை திருவுரப் பெயர்ந்தனள் திறம்கொள் கோசலை, says the Tamil poet Kamban. While waking up Sri Ramachandra, Vishwamitra says, Kausalya Supraja Rama Purva Sandhya Pravartate Uttishta Nara Shardula Kartavyam Daivamanhikam. Hey Putra, who's the son of Kaushalya. Shastram, generally whenever, school attendance itself, I don't know about the Paddhati here. In Bharata Desham, when we do the attendance, it is generally done in the letter wise of the English alphabet. So A will come first, then it will go on. Similarly, in Sanskritam, it is Pa, Pha, Ba, Bha, Ma. Panchaksharam. Pa, Pha. See, in Sanskritam, it is Pa. Whereas Hindi as a bhasha has an influence of some of the allied languages of Prakritam and some from Persia. The pronunciation. That is why it is Fal in Hindi and in Sanskritam it is Phalam. So Pa, Pha, Ba, Bha, Ma. So Pa comes first, Ma comes later. So as per this order, it should have been Pitrudevo Bhava and then Matrudevo Bhava. But Vedam says, Mata Putrasya Bhuyamsi Karmanyava Rabhate. Mother's words have 100 times more value than the father's words. Says Shastram. So, if the father asks, are you done with your home assignment? The daughter or son is not bound to answer as per Shastram. If the mother asks, they have to. In Tamil Nadu, for a very long time, we listened to Amma's words. So, Matrudevo Bhava and then comes Pitrudevo Bhava. In fact, Adi Shankara has written a beautiful work called Matrika Panchakam Astam Tavadiyam Prasuti Samaye Durvara Shulavyata Nairuchyam Tanusoshanam Malamayi Shayyacha Sambatsari Ekasyapina Garbhabhara Viditaha, says Shankara. So, Kaushalya, the revered mother of Rama, has been venerated. She gave birth to Rama, an avatara Purusha of Paramatma. Similarly, Devaki gave birth to Paramatma's form as Krishna. Shatahlada Bandhuraya Swakantya Sanjati Jambudana Bimbakalpa Trayanta Yugmena Rasayanena Kalena Bheje Kaladhauta Lakshmim, says Vedanta Deshika in Yadavabhyudayam, the greatness of Devaki, which we will witness at about 750 on day 4, which is Tuesday. So, Devaki gave birth to Krishna, so did Kaushalya give birth to Rama. They gave birth to Avatara Purushas. On the other hand, Matas like Aryamba gave birth to a Bhagavatottama, not Bhagavan, but Bhagavatottama, devotee like Adi Shankara. Kantimati gave birth to Ramanujacharya. Totaramma gave birth to Vedanta Deshika. In Andhra Desham, there was a king called as Prataparudra. He was of the Kakatiya dynasty. So they ruled a capital which was having many hillocks with large boulders. So it was called Eka Shila Nagaram. Eka is one, Shila is stone. Eka Shila Nagaram, filled with one single large stones. You make sculptures out of it, you call them monoliths. So Eka Shila is a Sanskrita Shabdam. Adi Telugu Bhashalo Chaptunappudu, Eka Shila ante Eka Oru, Shila Gallu. Eka Shila Oru Gallu became Varangallu over a period of time. So Prataparudra, while he ruled of the Kakatiya dynasty, there was a poet who wrote his biography in Sanskritam. It is a very famous work called Prataparudriyam. There he says, Kausalyayai prathama janani devaki cha dvitiya Vishnor mata tadanu vasata mummadamba tritiya. The first mother, Kaushalya, she gave birth to Rama. Devaki, she gave birth to Krishna. Those mothers were reborn as Mummadamba, and the king who is born is an avatara Purusha called Prataparudra. Such was the praise. If you praise kings that way, you will get better positions in those days. So, you had Kaushalya and Devaki who gave birth to Bhagavan. Aryamba, Kantimati and Totaramma who gave birth to Bhagavatottama. But there was one mother who carried the both at one point in time. She had Parikshit, a great devotee, in her garbham. And when Bhagavan entered her garbham to protect the fetus, she carried Bhagavan too for some time. So she carried Bhagavan and the Bhagavatottama at one point in time. That is why she is better than all these mothers. Her name was Uttara, the better one. So that Uttara's greatness, Parikshit's greatness, the birth of Srimad Bhagavatam, all this was discussed. Followed by this delineation was the understanding of Varaha Bhagavan. Udhritasi Varahena Krishnena Shatabahuna. You remember yesterday I was telling you about Anantnag, Karkota, Takshashila, Takshila. You remember? So that place was also famous for Varaha Murti's avataram. So Varaha Mula, Mula Kshetram. Mula is root. Varaha Mula. Va, ba, replaceable in Sanskritam. That is why in Bengali as a language there is no va. Vakaram is not there. So it will always be Chakraborti, Bidya, Brindaban. So Brindaban, Chakraborti, Bidya, all this will be there. Similarly, Ya and Ja are replaceable in Sanskritam. Yamuna will be referred to as Jamuna. Jamuna ke nare, nyare, says Meera. So Ya, Ja, that is why in Vedam, in the north of India, some parts they will say Jasmai, but in Vedam it will be Yasmai. So Va, Ba replaceable. So Varaha Mula is Baramulla. If you have heard in Kashmir Pradesham, Varaha Bhagavan's avataram. Similarly, Narasimha avataram is believed to have happened in Mulasthanam, which is Multan in Pakistan. Action replay happened in Ahobilam in Andhra Pradesh. Originally it happened there, then it was rewinded. Action replay, it happened in Andhra. Then he came all the way to Gonkura state. So, Varaha avataram was discussed, followed by Kapila Vasudeva avataram, a brief discussion of Sankhya philosophy, and Kapilopadesham. All this was a part of our yesterday's lecture. Now, there is a question that is posed. Bhave Shilavatam Sreshthe Daksho Duhitrivatsalaha Vidvesham Akarot Kasmad Nandrite Atatmajam Satim Kastam Chara Chara Gurum Nirvairam Shanta Vigraham Atma Ramam Katham Dveshti Jagato Daivatam Mahat. So the question asked is, Hey Maharshe, Bhave Shilavatam. Bhava means Shiva. Shiva Shabdeti Mangalavachakaha. Shiva means that who does, the one who does auspiciousness. Sham Karoti iti Shankaraha. The one who does good is also called Shankara. We have Sri Rudram with a Dhyana Shlokam. Namaste astu Bhagavan Vishveshwaraya Mahadevaya Trayambakaya Tripurantakaya Trikagni Kalaya Kalagni Rudraya Neelakantaya Mrityunjayaya Sadashivaya Shriman Mahadevaya Namaha. Then we have the 11 Anuvakas of Shatarudriyam. Drape Andhasaspate Yata Ishu Shivatama Shivam Babhuvate Dhanu Shiva Sharavyaya Tavataya No Rudram Ridaya. So that Shiva, today when I came, yesterday I didn't notice, when I turned right as the children were singing, I noticed Shiva here. So the question is related to that in Srimad Bhagavatam. The question is, when Shiva is so simple, see, Alankara Priyo Vishnu. Vishnu is always about brands. Louis Vuitton. Whereas Shiva is very simple. Abhisheka Priyo Shiva. So, Vishnu, you cannot ask the other question. Has he taken bath? Once a week only in Tirupati there is Abhishekam. Water conservation. California man he is. So, Alankara Priyo Vishnu. So the question is, Bhave Shilavatam Sreshthe Daksho Duhitrivatsalaha. To such a simple, humble, auspicious doing, giving, very benevolent Shiva, why did Daksha develop enmity? This is the question. Daksha Prajapati, once, while he entered an assembly of Devas, he noticed everybody rise. But Shiva, Mahadeva and Brahma. He was very upset. So immediately he had his own followers. Generally even leaders won't fight, their followers will clash. So they started making fun of Shiva's habits. Yashaghanaha, Nirapatrapaha, Markatalochanaha, Ashuchaye, Manine, Pretavaseshu, Goreshu, Unmattavat, Nagnaha, Vyuktakeshaha, Chittabhasma Kritasnanaha. All this, they hurled abuses at Shiva. And this was done. Daksha Prajapati also cursed. Ayam tu devayajanam indropendradibhirbhavaha sahabhagam nalabhatam devair devaganadhamaha. In whichever yajna is performed, havis shall not be given to Shiva. So it is generally routed through Narayana or other devatas. Nandi got upset. आप कैसे हमारे लीडर के बारे में ऐसे बोल सकते हैं? He cursed. बुद्धया पराभिध्यायिन्या विस्मृतात् आत्मगतिः पशुः स्तोत्रकामः स्त्रीकामः सोस्विततराम दक्षो बस्तमुखो चिरात्. In a few days from now you will get the head of a goat. This was the curse. Bhrigu cursed, counter curses, full of it was became a big scam, full of lot of curses. Meanwhile, Daksha had many daughters. We believe that the representatives of various asterisms, nakshatras, are his daughters. So all these nakshatras, whichever nakshatra you take, you will belong to one of the 27. The 28th we don't assume for ourselves. It is called Abhijit. So all these nakshatras were his daughters. These daughters were married, given in marriage to Chandra. So to every man his wife is a star. But for moon the stars were his wife. So all these stars became his wife. He was very much attached to Rohini. She was the only one who will appear on page 3. So then he was cursed. Then he went kshetram after kshetram for Papa Vibochanam. So thereby, moral of the story, Daksha was a very tough father-in-law. He had a daughter called Sati. Sati was referred to as Dakshayani because Dakshayani means Dakshasya Putri. That's all. Daughter of Daksha. She fell in love with Shiva and she married Shiva. Daksha was not very happy with the marriage and he didn't like Shiva for some reason. He developed a prejudice for no reason. Meanwhile, after this incident of curse and counter curse, Daksha performed a yagam called Vajapeyam. Vajapeya is a yaga. It's a very detailed yaga. Today we do all small havans and we say, Main havan kiya. First of all, yajnam should be performed with lot of vratas. It can go up till 18 days. It is called Prajapatyam. It can go up to 1 year. When Dasharatha performed Ashwamedham, he performed for 1 year. Samvatsareti says Srimad Ramayanam, followed by an Ishti. Ishti is a portion of Shrauta Bhagam. It was performed with the intense interest to seek a son. So it was called Putra Kama Ishti, Putra Kama Ishti. So there is a yagam called Vajapeyam and many families were dedicated to performing this yagam. Even today we have a great scholar called Sundara Rama Vajapeyi. Great scholar of all Shastras. They have all been performing this yagam called Vajapeyam. So if you do Agnihotra, in those days you will be given the title Agnihotri. Today he directs movies. But traditionally they were doing Agnihotram. So Vajapeya, people who do are called Vajapeyi. That's why we have Atal Bihari Vajpeyi. He too did not perform Vajapeyam. That is a different thing. Now, after Vajapeyam, there is a yagam called Brihaspati Savam. Vajapeye Nashtva Brihaspati Savam Yajeta is a Shastra Vakyam. So this Daksha Prajapati performed Vajapeyam and later Brihaspati Savam in a kshetra called Haridwara, which is there in the current day, Uttarakhand. So, while he performed, nothing went wrong. But what had happened was, Sati had a WhatsApp group. Sati Devi, she had one WhatsApp group. Somebody asked, Aaj tum nahi aa rahi ho Sati? Sati asked, Kidhar? Papa kar rahe hain. Yajna. Tum nahi aa rahi ho Sati? That's all. Immediately the controversy started. How can Papa not call me and my husband? Anahuta apyabhiyanti sauhridam bhartur guro deha kritascha ketanam. I need to go fight for justice for my husband. Husband said, "Tu mat jao sati." There is some family politics, don't go. But she said, "No, I need to go question. If you miss the bus, you'll miss the bus forever. I have to go ask my father." She went. Daksha did not treat her with respect. Immediately she sat in meditation. In yoga, we have Ashtangam, Yamam, Niyamam, Asanam, Pranayamam, Pratyaharam, Dharana, Dhyanam, Samadhi. At one state, you can ignite a certain fire within. See, we believe that there is, in Ayurveda Shastram itself, if you go to a good Ayurvedic doctor, they will check your pulse and say whether your body is Kapam, Vattam or Pittam. Whether it is Vayu based, fire based. Based on that, they will advise you, don't eat this, don't eat that. That is the moral of the story. So don't eat this, don't eat that. Ayurveda says in the night you should avoid curd. Naktam na bhunjita. Naktam na bhunjita. So in this particular case, where we see what are all the rules adhered to the Panchabhutas, we see that there is a fire within. Aham Vaishvanaro Bhutva Praninam Dehamashritah Prana Apana Samayuktaha Pachami Annam Chaturvidham. So there is a Jataragni within. So that Agni was ignited by Sati. So we generally see in movies, she will go jump into blazing fire. All this did not happen. So here it says, Tataswa Bhartus Charanam Bhuja Savam. Charanam Bhuja Savam. The fire came from within, from her feet. Jagat Guros Chintayati cha na chaparam. Dadarsha deho hatakalmashasati. Sadhya prajajwala samadhija agnina. So that Agni ignited. And this was informed to Mahadeva. Mahadeva came. He sent one Gana called as Veerabhadra. And Veerabhadra destroyed that yajna. He cut the head of Daksha. It was full of bloodshed. Big crime scene it became. Now, at the end of it, why this incident? See, when you're describing Bhakti and Bhagavatam, why should all this crime scene be described? Because towards the end there is a moral. The moral is, when you begin a project, a yajnam, you should be very careful about beginning that yajnam. I'll just take a few minutes. I'll digress from here and go into astrology. Now everybody will become alert. Sir, कुंडली के बारे में कुछ बोलेंगे तो हम सुनेंगे जरूर. Because every morning in channels it is about Meen Rashi, Katak Rashi, Kumbha Rashi. Everybody is concerned about that day's functioning. So, in Jyotishya Shastram, you can look at your Jatakam, which is your horoscope, on a few occasions only. One is during the birth. After the child is born, a few months from then, you generally assign the horoscope. Second is for marriage. If at all, by any chance, the house gets to witness an arranged marriage, which is an extinct phenomenon, by chance, if it happens to be that way, then you can see the horoscope. Third is when you are to do a yajna. Suppose you do a 4-day yajna, 10-day yajna, you have to see the Jatakam. In those days, you will see if the Karta, the one who has taken the pledge to do the yajna, will he survive that long or not. In case he dies within that Yagam period, then the sin that is attached will come for certain generations. So they will generally check that. Now he started the yajna, but he had to discontinue in the halfway. That is when Bhagavan came and completed that yajna, says Daksha Yagam, so that the future generations don't suffer. So Daksha Yagam is a beautiful reminder that when you do a yajna, you have to be very vigilant about its procedure. So from Daksha Yagam, this attachment, this goat head getting attached, all that you can learn from Bhagavatam. They are beautifully, they have kept Bhagavatam books outside. You will see all these detachment, attachment, all that procedure there. The moral of Daksha Yagam is shared. Now we are going to go to the next Charitram, which is a very beautiful Charitram of a Bhagavatottama. It is called Dhruva Charitram. So, yesterday if you remember, Swayambhuvamanu and Shatarupa had two sons called as Uttanapada and Priyavrata. This Uttanapada's Charitram is mentioned here. Uttanapada had two wives. First wife was called Suniti, the second one Suruchi. Through Suniti, he had a son called Dhruva. Through Suruchi, he had a son called Uttama. Uttama was his name, but he was Anuttama. Not great. That is why today, whether we have Uttama hero or not, we have Uttama villain. Villain also, we have great villain. So, Uttanapada Nripater Manunandanasya Jaya Babhuva Suruchir Nitaratma Bhishta Anya Sunitir Iti Bhartur Anadrita Sa Tvameva Nityamagati Sharanam Gatabhut. Uttanapada, one day, he was having his second son Uttama seated on his lap. He was caressing him, cuddling him, pampering him. Looking at the way his brother was receiving all the attention and love, Dhruva, who was standing behind a pillar, thought, I should also be recipient of this love. So he came running and went and sat on his father's other lap. He noticed somebody suddenly hold him by his neck and say, what audacity you have to come and sit on your father's lap. Were you born of me? Are you my son to experience the same love as your brother? Huh? And she pulled him out. And it was his stepmother called as Suruchi. Navatsan Ripater Dhishnyan Bhavan Arodhumarhati Nagrihito Mayayatvam Kukshavapi Nripatmajaha Tapasaradhya Purusham Tasyaiva Nugrahena Me Garbhe Tvam Sadhyatmanam Yadichasi Nripasanam. So the moment she shed such words of enmity and anger, this boy was extremely hurt. He was barely 4 or 5 years of age. He took it to heart. Some of the children I know, they'll say, same to you. And they will go away. Some children won't even be bothered. Needam po. This boy was very serious boy. He took it to heart. How were her words? Tyagaraja Swami, a great composer, says, if you take a trishulam made in cast iron and put it into a blazing fire furnace, leave it for an hour or so, you see that iron turning red hot. Take that trident which is red hot and pierce it into the ears of someone. How tough it will be for the person. So were her words, it seems. Sa Patni Mata Yau Suruchi Chekana Shulamaina Matanu Vinula Surukala Talaka Shri Harini Dhyaninchi Sukhim Pagaleda Yatu Kana Kana Ruchira Kana Kavasana Ninnu Sa Patni Matayau. Sa Patni Matayau. Telugu bhashalo Sa Patni ante co-wife. That is Suruchi. Sa Patni Matayau Suruchi che. Her name was Suruchi. How did she speak? How were her words? Karna Shulamai. It was as if a trident is pierced into the ears. Namatanu Vinula Surukala. Suruk. See, I'm not cognizant of how the Western languages, especially English, works. But many Bharatiya languages have this background effect to incidents. For example, let's take Tamil. How is the dosa? Gara gara. Dosa, it should be crisp, right? You give a sound to it. Gara gara. How should the powder that you mix with rice should be? Nara nara. How should the batter for the idli and dosa be? Valumuna. It should be very, very soft. So nara nara, gara gara, muluk suruk. So these are all, you don't need Aniruddha or Rahman to give you music. See, it is very tough to translate this in English. How's the dosa? It's crisp. You never say gar gar. Right? Right. How's the powder? Coarse. You don't say nara nara. How do you translate? So how is the piercing? Suruk. Suruk. See, you can feel that piercing. Suruk. Talaka Shri Harini Dhyaninchi Sukhim Pakaleda. Thereby he got convinced through Hari Bhakti. So this boy was extremely hurt. And this boy, with such words, hurtful words that he has received from his stepmother, went to his real mother Suniti and said, Mata, she said like this. She said, Anya janma kritaif punyai suruchyam suruchir nripaha bharyeti prochyate chanya madvidha punyavarjita. My dear son, at times they say that the karma accrued by the mother and father, an iota of it will be reflected in the children as well. I don't know what sanchita karma that I have gathered and what prarabdham I am experiencing now. So much so that you have to bear the brunt of it. You have been hurt, my dear son. That very moment she couldn't give a solution to the boy's melancholy. She just said, I feel very bad for you. Now, when Dhruva said, I wanted to experience the love of my father, but I need to experience the love of an eternal father whose love is undiminishing. Nanyadatta abhipipsami sthanam ambasvakarmana ichhami tadaham sthanam yenna prapapita mama. As he went outside his bhavana, the palace, Vishnu Puranam states that he countered the Sapta Rishis, whereas Srimad Bhagavatam says he met up with Narada Maharshi. In either case, I will tell you both. Anaradhitatair govindair naraihi sthanam nripatmaja nahi samprapyate sreshtham tasmad aradhyam achyutam. Chuti in Sanskritam means to slide, to abandon. The one who doesn't abandon is called achyuta. That is why Rukmini invokes on day 7, Friday we will see, between 8 and 8:30. Shrutva gunan bhuvana sundara shrunvatante nirvishya karana vivaraihi haratongatapam rupam drisham drishimatam akhilartalabham tvai achyuta avishati chittam apatrapam me. So Marichi says, go do dhyanam to Achyuta. Angiras says, go do dhyanam to Govinda. Pulastyar advises. Similarly, Narada Maharshi says, Om Namo Vasudeva Shuddha Jnana Swarupine. You have got Pranava, Namaha Shabdam, Bhagavata Shabdam, and Vasudeva Shabdam with Aya. So that is called Dvadashakshari, 12 Aksharas. So Narada gave Upadesham of Dvadashakshari to Dhruva and said, you meditate on Vasudeva. Now the boy asked, you have to tell me how Narayana looks. First of all, if he appears in front of me, I have to check his identity. Bolo tum Vasudev hi hona. Because Vasudeva will not carry one name tag here. I am Vasudeva. How will I find out? So that is when Narada said, you don't have to check anybody's identity. When he appears, you will know. You go. Now this boy went into Madhuvanam, says Srimad Bhagavatam. Madhuvanam was the eternal name, older name. Later it became Madhura or Mathura. Madhu is sweet. So Madhura Bhagyam Ananya Bhogyamede Vasudeva Vadhustanandayam Tat Kimapi Brahma Kishora Bhava Drishyam. So it was called Madhura. But in certain sutras of Panini and later Unani, we state that we can also use the tu pratyayam. So we say Mathura. So this Madhuvanam became Mathura. So this boy goes into Madhuvanam and he engages in austerities, tapasya. So Bhagavatam states, at the end of 3 nights for the first 1 month, the boy had Badara juice and Kapita juice. Completely he went on diet. Kapita juice, Badara juice. Today we have various diets, right? Without milk, then with paneer, keto, boto. He went on Kapita and Badara juice first month. Then second month, see, as per Dharma, we know very well Krishna clearly explains the importance of Atma, which is eternal, Shariram, which is Anityam. Even then, Dharma says, though the body is perishable, impermanent, in Dharma, it doesn't recommend to commit suicide. It is not correct. That is why in Srimad Ramayanam, there were 2 people who wanted to commit suicide. One was Hanuman and second is Sita. When Hanuman couldn't spot Sita in Sundarakandam, he says, I will go jump. What is the use of living like this? Then he corrects himself. He being Hanuman, very well read, he corrects himself. Sita too, while Hanuman wants to meet Sita, she ties her long braid to the branches of Shimshupa tree and wants to commit suicide. That is when Hanuman, first of all, he has taken a lot of efforts to come from Bharatadesham to Sri Lanka. If she commits suicide in front of him, tomorrow agencies will call him for witness. So he requested, oh Mata, how can you do this? Then he started reciting Ramayanam 93.4 FM and then she stopped. So suicide is not allowed. So it is said that even fasting should be done as per the scriptures say. Scriptures say fast on Ekadashi. Ekadashi fasting is the only recommended fasting as per all our Shastras unanimously. It's called Harivasaram. So what should we eat on Ekadashi? Sabudana. Next. Next. Nothing. Very good. See, as per fasting rule, you should not eat anything. From the previous Tithi, Dashami, evening after 6:30, till Dwadashi morning 7:38, you should not be eating anything. That comes to about 40 plus hours of fasting. That is correct Ekadashi Vratam. In fact, my acharyas won't even have water. That is Ekadashi Vratam technically. But some of us may have metformin plus glimepiride combination for diabetes. So if we have that, then we have to eat something. So that is when we will go ask the diabetologist or endocrinologist. They'll say, oh, don't fast like this. Then it will be very tough. Then what do? We'll start having fruits. Then somebody will say, fruits alone is tough. Then you have something else. You know, while I used to work in Bombay, I used to have a friend called Nilima. She used to come with a big carrier on Ekadashi. I used to ask her, Aaj to Ekadashi ka brat hai Dushyanth. So what are you adding? Sabudana, khichdi sabudana, vada sabudana, kheer, whatever you can make with sabudana, she has made. This will give her enough energy till next Ekadashi. So Ekadashi, you should not eat anything, technically. And generally very orthodox people will avoid sabudana also, because sabudana is processed, right? It is not something natural. Now, anyways, so Shastram doesn't allow you to fast on other days. You cannot do Monday, Somavara fasting, Tuesday this fasting, Wednesday this fasting, fourth day Vijayakant, fifth day Rajnikant, no fasting. So no fasting is allowed except Ekadashi Vratam. So this boy had to sustain the Atma within his material body. So what did he do? He had dry leaves. See, I'm sure since you all live in such cold places, as we go further north, it is only going to get colder. Then how do we do Archana to Bhagavan? If at all you have a puja room, what to do? There is a exception. This is where rishis, they were very good visionaries. You can collect tulasi leaves, dry them and use them throughout the year. For tulasi, there is no rule that you have to pluck that day, unlike for other flowers. So rishis say that tulasi alone can be used for years together. Even if they are dried, they can be submitted to Bhagavan. That great is tulasi. Amaravamma Tulasammananopalimpavamma. So this boy had to sustain the Jivatma within his body. Let's go to Kumara Sambhavam. In Kumara Sambhavam, Parvati, She is the daughter of Himavan. Hima means snow. I told you yesterday, you remember? Himavan, he was the king of all mountains. So he had a daughter called Parvata Vardhini, Parvati, Haimavatim. So she was in love with Shiva. So she went and performed penance to marry Shiva. While she was performing penance, she left her house. Her mother stopped. Manorama was her name. Mena says some Shastram. She said, Mat jao beti. Why do you have to strain yourself to marry that man? Mat jao. Don't go. Uma. Uma means don't go. So that is her name, Umam. So as she left to the forest, she started performing penance. I told you some time back that you cannot commit suicide. You have to sustain the Jivatma's presence in the body. For that you should have at least dry leaves. A leaf is called Parnam. She refused to have Parna also, so she is called Aparna. She refused to have the leaves. Whereas this boy had leaves for once in 6 days in the second month. Then after that, in the third month, he consumed only water. Water was his diet. Abbakshaha. Then the fourth month, he survived only in breathing. Vayu Bhakshaha. 4-year-old boy. We make white sauce pasta. Whatever they are, just look at this boy. Completely under control. Tavat tapo balaniruchavasite digante devatitastava mudayat karunadrachetaha twadrupa chidrasa nilina mateh purastat avirbabhuvita vibho garudadhirudaha. That is when, impressed with his austerities, his single ekastha hridayanunam rameva anupashyati, with that one-pointed devotion, Bhagavan appeared on Garuda. How was he to look at? Shrivatsankam Ghanashyamam Purusham Vanamalinam Shankachakra Gada Padmair Abhivyaktas Chaturbhujam. When Bhagavan appeared, Bhattatri says, Tatte Pratyagra Dhara Dhara Lalita Kala Yavali Kelikaram Lavanyasyaikasaram Sukriti Janadrisham Purna Punyavataram Lakshmi Nishankalila Nilayanamamritasyanda Sandohamantaha Sinchat Sanchintakanam Vapuhu Anukalaye Marutagaranatha. Very handsome he looked. This is what Shastram says. How handsome is he? See, Bhattatri gives one description. This is all there in poetic beauty. You have to go to an emerald mountain, it seems. Emerald is dark green. You have to go to that emerald mountain, and I'm sure you will have those scooping devices to scoop ice creams here, which is a famous brand here. Ice cream is huh? There is no brand. Ben and Gia. Ben and Jerry. Okay. Rendu per adala. Lavakushal Mari. Ben and Jerry. You go. That they have that device to scoop, right? You have to go to the Emerald Mountain and scoop emerald, it seems. Scoop and place them as cheeks. And polish them with 2-3 layers of butter so that they glisten and radiate only green light. And on those cheeks that look as if it has been scooped out of Emerald Mountain, you see the reflections of the fish-shaped earrings of Bhagavan that are dazzling with rubies. His Nilabham Kunchitagram Ghanamamalataram Sanyatam Charubhankya Ratnottamsabhiramam Valayitam Udayaschandrakaihi Pinchajalaihi Mandarasrangnivitam Ghanaprutukavaribalamalokaeham Snigdhashvetordva Pundram Apicha Sulalitam Palabalendu Vitim. Palabalam means crescent moon. It should be inverted and kept as his forehead. Palabalendu Vithim, in that there is Vapundram. These sides are like emerald. There you see the reflection of the fish-shaped earrings. You have got a corn-shaped neck, a long Vakshasthalam. In that is a mole called Srivatsam, seated on which is Mahalakshmi, whose body is gold-hued, whose feet are in the red black, and next to that is Kaustubam, which is a resplendent gem. You have got the multicolored mala called as Vanamala, a small abdomen in which there is a beautiful nabhi with the pollen of the lotus flower flowers scattered all around. Nalikena spuritarajasa vedaso nirbimana. From that is the Padmam seated on which is Brahma, like a bumblebee who keeps on buzzing with the mantras of the Vedas, with the thighs Kamarama Stirakadalikam Stambasambhavaniyam Kshauma Slishtam. Those thighs that look like banana stems covered with yellow silk cloth, below which is the feet that are akin to the softness of the petals of a newly blossomed lotus. So this is how Bhagavan has been described, Keshadi Padam. So when Bhagavan appeared on Garuda, Dhruva opened his eyes and he had never seen such immaculate beauty ever in his life. So he knew who this man was. The moment he saw Bhagavan, it seems emotions ran high and tears started rolling down his cheeks. He couldn't speak. There was a shokam that I have been ridiculed by my own stepmother. My father didn't come to my defense. I have been humiliated. And look, here is somebody in front of me. Just looking at him, all my anguish and worry just vanishes. So that dukkham, that shokam, was there in him. It was choking him here. Then Bhagavan kept that shankham on his lap, and with that palm that was holding the shankham, he went and Kapola Deshe, he touched the cheeks of the boy. That time that shokam turned into a shlokam, it seems. Shokaha shlokatvam agataha. And then he started praising Bhagavan. Sahasra Shirishah Purushaha, Sahasraksha Sahasrapat, Sarvavyapi Bhuvasparshat, Atyatishthad Dashangulam, Sarvatmakosi, Sarvesha, Sarvabhutastito Yataha, Kathayami Tata, Kimte Sarvam Vetsi Hridisthitam. He started praising Bhagavan. Bhagavan embraced Dhruva and said, "It is for this embrace have you been waiting all along." What this boy lost in that waste father, he got it through Jagat Pita Sitamma Mayamma Shri Ramudu Makutandri, says Tyagaraja. Now Bhagavan embraced Dhruva, gave that love which has no parallel, and then he gave a boon as well. He said, "You have always been thinking of me, Smaranam. So from now on, my dear student, my dear Sishya, my dear son, Bhagavatottama, from now on, remembrance will be spoken or remembered after you." So that is why in Sanskrita literature, remembrance is called Dhruva Smriti. So the common word remembrance was renamed to Dhruva Smriti because of this boy. He goes back to his kingdom. Now his father says, "Beta, sorry, that day I didn't do all that." But this boy got what he wanted. Now what is the use of his waste father's apology? He went there. Now this is Dhruva Charitram that gives us a beautiful glimpse of how not to hurt someone irrespective of their age. Best is silence. If you don't like someone, it is better you keep silent rather than even speaking. Because it is very tough to live in this world. Each one, loko bhinna ruchihi. Each one is different. So how do we handle such situations? If you feel that there are certain people who are hurtful, vengeful, not so cooperative, it is better you stop speaking rather than blurting out words and getting into a tussle. Avoid them. That is much easier in life. So, Dhruva Charitram is a beautiful reminder as to how not to be hurtful towards devotees. In this lineage of Dhruva came a Raja called Vena. This Vena was a king who was not a good administrator. So the subjects got together along with the rishis and they killed the king. So after he was killed, posthumously, children were produced through the Maharani, and from the Nishada community came, and from them later we had a king, we had a little child who was born with the insignia of Shankham and Chakram. This boy was called Prithu. This Prithu, later when he became a good king, unlike his father. See, we can never be judgmental about children. Just because we feel the mother and father are a certain way, we can never ever get judgmental about the children. The child could be different. Like how Prahlada was a very good son to a very, very vengeful father called Hiranyakashipu. Hiranyakashipu was a very bad son to a good father called Kashyapa. We can't decide. Ravana was caught in the Me Too. Right? He was very disrespectful towards women. Whereas his younger brother Vibhishana was very respectful towards women. Same, two children brought up in the same household, same mother, same father. See the difference. So here we have Prithu as a Raja who was a very good administrator, but during his regime he did not receive the necessary minerals that is required from Mother Earth. So he performed various yagyams, Gaur Bhutva. That time he saw Mother Earth appearing in the form of a cow and extracted various types of wealth from her, because we receive all wealth, all types of wealth from Mother Earth. Remember, Vasu in Sanskritam means wealth. Since she gives us wealth, she is called Vasudha. Bhumi is called Vasudha. All of us who live on this Mother Earth, irrespective of which country or continent we all live, we are all one family. Kutumbakam. Vasudha eva Kutumbakam is Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. We say Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, one earth, one family, right? It is because of that. People who are born in Punarvasu star. How many of you are Punarvasus here? Nobody born in Punarvasu Nakshatram? Mama, where are? So Punarvasu, Vasu means wealth. Punaha Vasu means those born in that star will regain whatever they have lost. So if you are planning to lose your phone, give it to him. He will get it. Punarvasu Nakshatram, they will always, because that is Rama star. Now, Prithu Charitram tells us the different kinds of wealth that Prithu was bestowed by Mother Earth. Since different kinds of wealth were bestowed on Prithu, this earth is called Prithvi. She bestowed Prithu with riches, so she is called Prithvi. In the lineage of Prithvi came a Rani called as Pritha, also known as Kunti. Because Pritha's son, being Pritha's son, Arjuna was called Partha. Since Krishna became Sarathi to Partha, he is called Partha Sarathi. So Prithu, Prithvi, Pritha, Partha, Partha Sarathi. See the way the words have been derived. Now, after Prithu Charitram, here Bhattatri says, Prache stavam japantastamami jalantare. So we come across a very interesting charitram of Priyavrata. You remember two sons I described, Uttanapada and Priyavrata. Uttanapada's lineage we have seen. Priyavrata had children called Agnidhra, Nabhi, so on and so forth. In that there was this boy born called as Rishabhanatha. This Rishabhanatha, who became the king of Ajanabhavarsha. See, these are all small charitrams that I am covering. From day 3, we will have larger charitrams. Narasimhavataram, Matsyavataram, Kurmavataram. Then comes the largest one, Krishnavataram. But these are all small charitrams. Rishabhanatha is one of the Aveshyavatarams of Bhagavan. This Rishabhanatha, he relinquishes the administration and gives those rights to his children and leaves to the forest. This Rishabhanatha, after giving away his kingdom, goes as an avadhuta, as a nagna, without clothes, goes preaching certain principles, place to place. From Bihar, he travels via Uttar Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh, reaches some parts of Rajasthan, lands up in Gujarat, and then comes through the coast of Maharashtra and comes to the southern part of Karnataka called Kuttakachalam. Have you heard of Kuttakachalam? Kuttakachalam is Coorg, Kodagu. Coorg is called Kuttakachalam in Prachina Sanskritam. So he arrives there, he preaches a set of principles, and he lives the lives like that of a python. The snake will never move. If something comes to it, it will eat. Don't ask me if you have tested. I'm telling you whatever is there in the book. So he lived such lives and finally got burnt in the forest fire. So Shayuvrata Mriga Kakacharyam. So Shayuvratam Gomriga Kakacharyam Chirancharanavapya Param Swarupam Davahritangaha Kuttakachaletvam Tapan Mamapa Kuru Vatanatha. That is why southern Karnataka saw the rise of one of the religions that he started preaching called Jainism. So this Rishabhanatha had another wife. First wife, he had a son called Bharata. Through the other wife, he had a son, as per Adi Purana, called as Bahubali. That we know, sir. This Bahubali is different Bahubali. This is Bahubali 1.0. This Bahubali, he started performing penance in Dakshina Karnataka in a yogic course called as Kayot Sargam, called by the locals as Gomatha. There you see a beautiful depiction of Gomatha in a place called Shravana Belagola. If you've heard of it, Gomatheshwara. So that is how Jina Matam started getting famous. He was the first Tirthankara. So Bhagavan's avataram is Rishabhanatha, who became the Tirthankara in Jainism. So if you go to some of the temples of Bhrugutunga is current day called Mount Abu. You have got Dilwara temples between the 11th and the 14th century. If you go to the Garbhagriham of Rishabhanatha, you will see Srivatsam in the chest. So this Rishabhanatha gave away his kingdom to the eldest of his sons called, very good, Bharata. This Bharata, like his father, was not interested in these riches. He wanted to give away his kingdom and went into the forests. He went to a place by the banks of river Gandaki in a kshetram called Muktinath in Nepal. He settled there and was engaged in austerities. One day, he saw a pregnant doe being chased by a tiger. While being petrified of the tiger, the pregnant doe jumped from one boulder to the other. The belly of the doe hit the stone, and the little one slid and fell into the waters, and the mother continued running and the tiger continued chasing. This child incidentally fell upon a leaf that was floating by the torrential waters of the Gandaki river. The Rishi, Bharata, who was witness to this, couldn't stand this little one suffering. He jumped into the waters of Gandaki, took that little deer, brought it to his ashramam. 24/7 he used to be engaged in tapasya. Now slowly he was worried about this little one, so he got some Cerelac, milk powder, Amulya, and then he started feeding the little one. Then the child started growing. So his concentration, his time of tapasya was dedicated to this little deer. So 24 hours became 20, 20 became 16, 16 became 12. Slowly it started reducing. So he was thinking of the deer. The deer, on the other hand, started growing and it went into the forest meeting its female friends. So it went into the forest. Now this Bharata, who got old, while his Atma was about to depart from the body, was thinking of the deer. This is where Bhakti Yoga comes into picture. Bhakti Yoga says that while the Atma is about to leave the body, whatever you think of, you shall be that. It's called Tat Kratu Nyayam. Krishna talks about this in Bhagavad Gita in detail. So if you think about the deer, you will be the deer. In some national forest, you will become the deer. So whatever you think of, this is Bhakti Yoga, small caveat. There's a disadvantage here. So this particular Bharata was thinking of the deer. He became the deer. Now this deer was born in a mountain called Kalanjaram, which is in the current day Uttar Pradesh. So he was born in Kalanjara Parvatam as a deer. Nothing very surprising because we also have multiple births. But Shastram says that 1 in a lakh can remember their previous janma. What did we have for yesterday's breakfast? We don't remember. Where will we remember previous janma? But 1 in a lakh will remember their previous janma. They are referred to by a technical name called Jati Smaraha in Sanskritam. So Jati Smaraha means they will remember their previous birth. So this deer managed to remember the previous birth. So it went all the way to Gandaki river and stayed in the same ashramam and was thinking of Bhagavan, and the Atma left that body. Since it was having Vedic thoughts, it was born into a kulam that would propagate the Vedic thoughts as a Brahmana. But this Brahmana was very, very indifferent to others. He knew what was the true tattva and was not engaged in accumulating wealth or earning wealth. So people thought this aloof attitude made him a Jada. So he was called Jada, and Bharata 2 births before. So Jada plus Bharata became Jada Bharata. Bharata Desham is called Bharata for 4 different reasons. Bha means jnanam, wisdom, light. Bharata is where knowledge is nourished, cherished. You know, this stretch from Myanmar, Bhutan, Arunachal Pradesh, Sikkim, Nepal, southern part of Tibet, Uttarakhand, Himachal Pradesh, Ladakh, Kashmir, and some parts of the Central Asian countries like Kyrgyzstan, Turkmenistan, they are all laden with mountains covered with snow. So it will look like a crescent moon. So when travelers came from some parts of eastern China to Bharata Desham, they were not given visa. In those days, the kings of China did not allow them to come to Bharata Desham. So they used to come by Central Asian countries crossing Sindhu. So in their travelogues, they will be mentioning this as the land of the moon because it looks like moon. Indu. But Dakaram isn't there, so it is Intu in Chinese records. That is how it became Hindu over a period of time. Why moon? Because Chandra is responsible for our mental balance. If at all we undergo certain phases in our life where we are mentally depressed, all of that, there will be some problem in the Chandra's position in your Jatakam. That is why technically they'll say on the day of full moon and new moon, be careful. You will have a change of your mood. So Chandra is very important for that placement. So Bharata is the place where knowledge is cherished, nourished. One reason why it is called Bharata is Rama's younger brother Bharata. Bharataya param namostu tasmai prathamodaharanaya bhaktibhajam yadupagyam asheshataf prithivyam patito raghava paduka prabhavaha. Bharata, the younger brother to Rama, was an epitome of Rama Bhakti, of devotion, of detachment to material riches, because his mother got him the entire region of Kosala. He could have ruled, but he said, without my brother, I will not transgress the Vedic injunctions. I will let my brother rule. So Bharata, which in itself is traditionally known to be a country, known to be very helpful to the neighbors, is called Bharata for that reason, because of Rama's younger brother called Bharata. Second is Dushyanta and Shakuntala's son called Bharata. Dushyanta was a Raja of Hastinapura. He went on a hunting spree to the forest. He met up with a beautiful girl who was originally the girl of Vishwamitra and Menaka. But father and mother had abandoned her. This girl child was protected from Mother Nature's rains and scorching rays with the feathers of a bird called Shaku. Since she was protected by Shaku, she is called Shakuntala. Very pretty. She was the foster daughter of Kanva Maharshi. While the father was absent, while she was in the forest, Dushyanta Maharaja meets up with her, expresses love. A lot more can happen over a cup of coffee. So he extends, he proposes to the girl. Immediately she accepts. Cost-effective marriage, Gandharva Vivaham. He gives her her ring. Goes away. She's pregnant eventually. She keeps thinking of him. One day, Durvasa Maharishi comes. Nobody is there in that ashramam. He says, Bho, I have come. She doesn't reply. She is lost in the thoughts of Dushyanta Maharaja. He curses. Look at his curse. Complicated one. He says, you have been thinking of a man. Whoever you have been thinking of, he will forget you. So, he will forget you. She was not aware of this. Two of her friends called Priyamvada and Anasuya are aware. So, when she leaves the hermitage to go to Dushyanta Maharaja's Sabha Mantapam, this Dushyanta doesn't recognize her. Then she has to show that ring. Ring is missing. Because while she was doing Arghyam, that ring was swallowed by a fish. Later she goes away into the forest. Sad life. Then this king gets to see that ring. That ring is that one that reminds him of her. So it is called Abhijnanam. Abhijnanam means insignia. So Abhijnana Shakuntalam, Kalidasa wrote. Then he goes in search of Shakuntala in the forest. He spots a little boy who plays with the cub and wants to count the teeth of that cub. Then he sees that courage in that child and asks, who are you? He says that my father is Dushyanta. He is that Dushyanta. So he says, tell me your full name. I'm D. Bharata, he says. Okay, hello son, you are my son. So come, introduce me to your mother. And then this boy, Bharata, becomes a very good administrator after that. Seeing such good administration in Bharata Desham, in that Desham, the Desham was called after him as Bharata. Second reason. Third reason, we had a great Rishi who gave us Natya Shastram, which is Bhava, Raga, Talam. Bhavam is emotion. Whenever you sing, you have to have that emotion, right? You should internalize what that song is about. So, Bhavam, Ragam, you should have some melody in that. It cannot just be one tune for every shloka. It has to change as per that shloka. For example, when Rama lifts the bow, Kodanda Prakandana Khandana Shaunda Bhujadanda, when he lifts that bow, you should get that feeling. Khandana Shaunda Bhujadanda. He will keep that bow down. You have to lift that bow. Right, if Narasimha has to come out of that pillar, Narasimha, as he emerged from the pillar, he will not emerge, he will stay there itself. That ragam should be there when you sing. Talam, it has to follow a rhythm. That is why talam is very important both in music and Natya Shastra. So bhavam, ragam, talam, bharata. That is why that Natyam itself is called Bharata Natyam. So Bharata Muni gave us this. So he gave us a direction as to how the land should also be, following emotions, following a certain pattern, a schedule. So it's called Bharatam for that reason. Fourth reason is Jada Bharata, who is an epitome of Karma Yoga and Jnana Yoga. So Dushyanta, Shakuntala's son Bharata for administration, Rama's younger brother Bharata for devotion, Bharata Muni for rhythm and melody and emotion, and finally Jada Bharata for Karma Yoga and Jnana Yoga. It is called Bharatam. So this particular Jada Bharata, as he went into the forest, he was well built, though he did not eat well. See, some of them, when they look at me, they will think I eat a lot. As such, my body, we come in a family of slightly obese people. So we will look at food, we will put on weight. We don't have to eat. So that kind of body. Some people will eat well but will remain thin. They are all great. They have received immense blessings from Paramatma. Okay. Some people will eat sweets. Their sugar level will remain low. If I see jalebi, my HbA1c will be 8.5. I have to just see jalebi, that's all. So, here, this Bharata, well built. So the forest dwellers thought he is the right person whom we have to offer a sacrifice to Kali Devi. So they dragged him, put him in a guillotine and said, let's kill him. Kali Devi appeared. She said, if you kill him, I will kill you. He is a great devotee of Bhagavan, leave him. So he was left into the forest. Meanwhile, a king of Sindhu Sauvira Pradesham. See, lots of stories I'm going to tell you today. You have to keep following me. 5 minutes, your attention goes here and there. That's all, you'll be lost. Unlike music, see, if you're all fans of music, especially in South Indian classical Carnatic music, you have repetition of lines. It's called Sangati. Nidhi chala sukhama. Nidhi chala sukhama, nidhi chala. Same line you have to repeat 4-5 times. So if you miss the second time also, fourth time you can follow. Iha paragati nine Indira Ramana. Iha paragati nine Indira Ramana. Iha paragati nine Indira Ramana, iya paragati nine Indira Ramana, iha paragati nine Indira Ramana, iha paragati. Same line I have to repeat 20 times. So there, if you can check 2-3 WhatsApp messages and come back to the story. Here you can't do that. Now, Bharata, he was pulled. Meanwhile, a Raja from Sindhu Sauvira Pradesham. Sindhu Sauvira Pradesham is from Khyber Pakhtunkhwa of Pakistan till Sindh Desham, which is Karachi. Horses used to be trained in the southern part of Pakistan. So that is called Sindha Desham. That is why horses were called Saindavam. Northern part of Pakistan and Afghanistan was also equally important for horse training. That is why that region kings were called Ashwapati. Shwa isn't there in Persian language. Ashwa isn't there. You have only fa. So Ashwa became Afgha. That name transition. So this region was famous for horses. So there was a king called as Rahuguna Maharaja. He had lots of doubts. He wanted to get them clarified from Kapila Vasudeva. You remember yesterday 8:15 to 8:30 I spoke about Kapila. Kapila settled in the southern parts of Ganga Sagar in West Bengal. So he had to travel all the way from Pakistan, crossing Haryana, Uttar Pradesh and reach West Bengal. While he was crossing the forests in Haryana near one of the tributaries to Saraswati river called Ikshumati, one of the carriers of his palanquin fell sick. So they needed one extra person. So the other carriers found this well-developed man suffering from good health called as Jada Bharata, pulled him and said, "You carry." Jada Bharata did not realize, he just held it like this. While they were walking, Jada Bharata noticed a row of ants going left to right. He didn't want to hurt them. So he jumped. As he jumped, inside the palanquin was seated Rahuguna Maharaja. He sensed a 6.8 Richter scale, one small earthquake jerk. So he opened the curtain and said, "Who did this?" They all said, "Ye naya admi ne kiya." Then he called, "Hello, sir, you look stout, you look well developed. Why did you do this?" This man said, "I am neither stout nor thin. I am neither the one who's carrying, nor am I being carried." The others thought this man is a fool. Whereas the Raja, in those days, administrators were well educated. So he immediately stopped the palanquin and said, "Get down, I will get my doubts clarified from him. I don't have to go to Kapila Acharya." He fell at the feet of this person and said, "You are a jnani, please teach me." That is when Atma Jnana Bodhanam happened from Jada Bharata to Rahuguna Maharaja. This samvadam, this conversation that happened between Rahuguna Maharaja and Jada Bharata is extremely beautiful, which is the essence of our Vedanta Shastra. So we have had such beautiful conversations that used to happen that has been coded here. Meanwhile, there used to be a Brahmana in the region called as Kanya Kubjam. Kanya Kubja is the current day Kanauj in Uttar Pradesh. So in Kanauj there was a Brahmana called as Ajamila. This Ajamila was married, was very well read. One day while he was having his family, everything was going well. He went into the forest, found a woman of the Shabarajati. Shabarajati is the hunter community. He fell in love with her. He relinquished his existing family, started living with her. Abandoned all his achara anushtanam, did not do sandhya vandanam, did not do yagyam, fell in love with her, started producing one child after the other. The last child was produced. They wanted to stop the production at some point in time. You know, I'm sure the elderly people here will be able to relate to, at least in the 1960s, you technically had families which will easily say we have 4 daughters, 5 sons, 7 daughters and 5 sons. Big families we used to have. Nowadays, if you just look at parents, they'll say we have only 1. And some of them make even decisions like, "No sir, we don't want children. Dogs and cats are easier to maintain because you don't have to seek admission in school for them." Right? Children, they are more problematic. So you'll have 1 child. That 1 child is equivalent to 100 Kauravas. That will compensate. Right? So here, that is why if you look at families, large families, you will find many women. I don't know about Uttara Bharata Desham, names will be different. In Dakshina Bharatam, you will come across very common names like Mangala, which means she is the last child. You know why? Because in a technical kacheri, in a concert, the last piece is called Mangalam. Mangalam is the last piece you sing, which means the concert is going to come to over. So their production ended in Mangala or Shubha. Shubha means last child. So this boy had to be given a name. Immediately they went to AI, Deep Sleep. Deep Sleep. They went into Deep Sleep and asked Deep Sleep, what names can we give? Deep Sleep gave a list of namas. Today, most common mail that I receive many mails. Some of these mails will be related to, sir, my daughter and son-in-law are in the US. They are planning to, they are having children. So give us a name, which nobody has kept. See, I said, how will I know that name? I will know only names that people have kept. How will I know names which people have not kept? All such useless questions will come. So, then I will say, Srinivasan. See, whatever Sahasranamam says, only I can say Sridaha, Srisaha, Srinivasaha, Srinidhihi, Srivibhavanaha, Sridharaha, Srikaraha, Shreya, Shriman Loka, Trayashreya, Shriman, Sridhara. These are the names that I can give. They'll say, no. We already have 4 Srinivasans at home. What will I do for that? In those days, they, such 4, 5 Srinivasans, if you come across in the same family, they'll give a prefix, Ashatichima. Yeah, so, now they'll say, give us a name. They'll insist. If I give a reply, will they agree? Some parents will say, no sir, we are completely dependent. You have to give a name. So I'll say, Sarva Praharana Yudha. Use this name. That is the 1000th name in Sahasranamam. Devaki Nandana Srashta Kshiti Shafpapanashanaha Shanka Bhrannandaki Chakri Sharanga Dhanva Gadadharaha Rathanga Pandir Akshobhya Sarva Praharana Yudha. 1000th nama of Narayana, Sarva Praharana Yudha. Use this name. Bhuta Bhavya Bhavat Prabhu. One name. Bhuta Bhavya Bhavat Prabhu. If it is only Prabhu, then he'll come in Kalyan jewelry. Bhuta Bhavya Bhavat Prabhu will use this one name. So this boy, last child of Ajamila, had to be given a name. So he had no attachment, spiritual connection, some sudden enlightenment. He said, let me call him Narayana. That's all. He gave the name Narayana. Now this Ajamila grew old. He was very sick. One day while he was very sick and as he was sleeping, he went into a trance. That very moment, he sensed that his Atma was coming out of his body, and Atma cannot travel on its own. See, generally when we see these movies, suddenly that Atma will come like one glittering light, toing, toing, like that and all. Atma will not come. See, Atma needs a Sukshma Shariram as per Vedanta. We should not get carried away by all these VFX effects. Atma needs a Sukshma Shariram. Now it has got a gross body, which is called Sthula Shariram. It needs Sukshma Shariram. That Sukshma Sharira Atma has to come out. When it comes out, he realizes and sees 2 men with Damshtra. Damshtra has canine teeth. They are all holding ropes in their hand, which is called Pasham. Pasham means a rope. That is why Muthuswami Dikshita says, Meena lochani pashamochani manini kadamba vanavasini mi nakshi. So they were all holding that pasham. They were the Yamadutas. Yamadut. In Bharatam we used to have one bike called Rajdut. You remember? This is Yamadut. So these Yamadutas, they all came. They said, Ajao. This Ajamila knew for all the activities that he had done in his life, he was fit only to go to Yamaloka. He knew his qualification. Meanwhile, 2 other handsome men appeared with Shankha Chakram, Gada, Padmam. They said, stop, Yamdut. He has to come to Vaikunth. That time, Ajamila said, sir, you have come to the wrong address. To come to Vaikuntham, I have not performed even one good deed. He argued. They said, no, surely we can tell you have performed a good deed. Ajamila was surprised. Me? Good deeds? What good deed have I done? Batao, Heli. He said. That is when they said, no, you uttered while your Atma was about to depart from your body, from that excruciating pain, to escape that pain. You cried out, Narayana! Sorry, sir, you are mistaken. I called my son's name. See, I not out of devotion. I just said Narayana. I like my son, the last one. I like him very much. So I called out Narayana. No. Whether you knowingly or unknowingly called him out, We take that as a punya karyam. No, sir, I didn't do it as a punya, but we have taken it as a punya karyam. You have to come to Vaikuntham. See, look at the beauty here. We often have questions. Sir, we recite Vishnu Sahasranamam, but our concentration is not there when we recite. Let's be honest. See, do we get into that meditation mode and we see Vaikuntha? No. Bhuta Bhavya Bhavat Prabhu Bhuta Krit Bhuta Prithu. Can you just off that phone? Bhutatma Bhuta Pavanaha Bhutatma Paramatma. Can you open that door? Bhutatma Paramatma Cha Muktana Paramagatihi. What have you made today? Avyaya Purusha Sakshi Kshetragyo Ksharaye Vacha Yogo Yoga Vidhamneta. I'll be back in an hour. Narasimha Vapu Shriman. Our concentration is not there in Bhagavan at all. First, concentration is very low. Let us be practical. Second, we don't know what is being said also. We know these are the names of Bhagavan. For example, see, I have given plenty of discourses on Vishnu Sahasranama, many. Once I went to South Bombay, to a particular house after my lecture, they had been calling and they introduced their children. They said, this is our son, his name is Kim. Kim. Internally, I laughed. I said, what name? That I know that one, what our parents, Junga Jangavar. Kim Yong. That Yong, I know. That rocket man, I know the Kim Yong. I have never heard Kim elsewhere. So I laughed. I didn't laugh in front of them. Then I thought, what kind of names these people give? I came home. The next day, I had to give a lecture on Vishnu Sahasranamam. I had to open the book. The place where it opened was that Nama, Ekaha, Eko Naika Savaka. There is one Nama of Bhagavan called Kim. That is when Bhagavan, see, in certain ways, he will always teach you a lesson. It will be very subtle. So that time I realized how much ahankaram I had when I mocked at someone. See how Bhagavan teaches the next day that my name is Kim. So this happened. Every nama has one associated meaning. But when we may not know of the meaning, because first of all, we don't have Bhasha Jnanam. First of all, that is written in Sanskritam. Vyasa, Valmiki have spoken in Sanskritam. We don't know Sanskritam. We know English. Valmiki has not written in English. Look at the gap here. Had he realized our deficiency, he would have presented Ramayanam in English itself. Right? Ramam Dasharatham Vidhi Mam Vidhi Janakatmajam. He could have simply written, oh, Lakshman. Think of Ram as Dashrath. Think of the daughter, the lotus-eyed one of Janaka, Sita, as me. Wherever he lives, that shall be your Ayodhya. He could have written it in English. It would have solved our problem. But he has written in Sanskritam. We know English. So we don't know the meanings. Neither our concentration is there, nor do we know the meanings. Now the next follow-up question is, will we get the fruits of recitation or not? People ask, why should I even recite? This is where Bhattatri says, Yathamridam, Yathaushadam. See, for example, we have a list of vaccines. I don't know what is the paddhati here. I shouldn't comment. In Bharata Desham, for newborn children, we have those vaccines. That MMR, measles, mumps, rubella, then pentavalent vaccine and all of that. So you take the child to the pediatrician. The doctor will say, this is a vial. An attenuated vaccine, my dear child, that I'm going to administer towards you. And the moment it is administered, it will act on your immune system this way. Does he explain? No. He will just inject. Will that vaccine work or not? It will work. Whether the child knows of it or not, it will work. Similarly, whether we know the names of Narayana or not, Vishnu Sahasranamam will give us the fruits, even without knowing the meaning. That is how for Ajaamila it worked. So, if we have this doubt that I don't know the meaning, then what should I do? Don't worry, even then you can decide. But that should not stop your quest for knowing the meanings. Learn. But don't wait till you learn the meanings. That will never happen. Learn of the work, recite. One day you will get to know the meaning. So here, Ajamila thought of Narayana, his son, and uttered that name. And Narayana Dutas appeared. The moment they all had a conversation and he was witnessing the greatness of Narayana Nama. That is why Purandaradasa says, Hey Krishna, I've been calling you for so many years now. You don't seem to shower your grace on me. When Prahlada called, you emerged out of the pillar as Narasimha immediately. When Gajendra called your name, you immediately emerged. At about 7:15 tomorrow, he will emerge. So in Gajendra Moksha, you come immediately, Narayana, but when I call, you are not coming. How much did Gajendra pay you? Purandaradasa asks, because Purandaradasa is very practical. He says, kuch pay karna hai, to I will pay you that. See, you are able to understand what is that payment? Purile, you are all very straightforward. See, my maternal grandfather, my mother's father, used to work for a bank called as the Imperial Bank. During the Britishers' time, it was called Imperial Bank. Later, it was renamed as the State Bank of India. So, my maternal grandfather, he used to live in a temple town called as Kumbhakonam. It is found in, like how Kumbh Mela happens in the north of India, this place is famous for Kumbh Mela in the south. So, in Kumbhakonam, if you go, every third house will be a temple. So, between temples, there will be small houses. So, you can go to this town. My grandfather grew up in that town. He received an offer letter from the government for this bank. And in those days, government job was like Moksham. If you have a government job, surely you'll get married soon. So, my grandfather went and informed his grandmother that I've got a government job. She immediately said, before joining, my dear grandson, go and seek the blessings of Garuda in a temple of Madhurantakam near Chennai. My grandfather was amazed, shocked. Because the place where they were living, Kumbhakonam, has so many temples. Leaving that, why will I go to another place, to another temple? But it was a custom in those days, tradition, to listen to your elders. Right? So, he left that place and went to Madhurantakam. There he had darshana of Rama as Karunakara Swami and saw Garuda there. Garuda has 4 hands in that temple. 2 above and 2 beneath. Since he's going to a government job, the grandmother gave a subtle message how the hands below will work. So, here, Purandaradasa asks Bhagavan, how much did Gajendra pay for you to appear in front of him immediately? Kariraja yeshtu kottanu helo hariye yake nirdaya nadiyo. Why are you showing no mercy on me? In Merchant of Venice, exists a beautiful poem called as The Quality of Mercy, when Shylock asks for a pound of flesh closest to the heart without a drop of blood. There's a beautiful poem called The Quality of Mercy, the mercy that droppeth from the heaven with a scepter in the hand, says Shakespeare. So here, Purandaradasa continues, Ajamila nu annano. When you appeared for Ajamila, is he related to you? Ajamila nu annano. Vibhishananu tammano nija rukmangada ninage mommagano adarilla idarenu ಜ್ಞಾನಿನಗೆ ಅನ್ಯನೋ ನ್ಯಾಯವಲ್ಲವೇ ತಂದೆ ಪುರಂದರ ವಿಠಲ ಪುರಂದರ ವಿಠಲ ಪುರಂದರ ವಿಠಲ ಪುರಂದರ ವಿಠಲ. So Purandaradasa invokes Ajamila there. So Ajamila Charitram is a beautiful reminder that even to a person who uttered the name of his son, Bhagavan gives Moksham. Meanwhile, if we think of him and his qualities, we'll be in a better state. That is Ajamila Upakhyanam. Next comes another important Charitram called as Ambarisha Charitram. See, yesterday we had Ekadashi. Today is the Tithi of Dwadashi. Ekadashi Dinam is very important. Why do we have to fast? Now everybody says intermittent fasting, you will lose weight, all that. But generally remember, when we eat, we will sleep immediately. That is the nature of food. You have nice, good food. You will feel very, very sleepy. Bhagavad Dhyanam goes away. That is why rishis used to live only on fruits and tubers. You eat less, you can think more. You sleep less. See, today doctors say have 8 hours of sleep, but Shastram doesn't recommend that. You should have less sleep, less food. Always dedicate more time towards Bhagavat Chintanam. So this Ekadashi Vratam was observed by a king called Ambarisha. This Ambarisha was a very good king, and he lived near Madhuvanam. For 1 year he observed Ekadashi Vratam, which means every Ekadashi he observed that Vratam. As much as you fast on Ekadashi, you should feast on Dwadashi. That morning food in Sanskritam is called Parana. So since you fast for 36 to 40 hours, you are not allowed to have food that contains tamarind because it will increase the acidity. So they will have curds, they will have gooseberry, they will have one particular leaf called as Agastya Shaka, which is called Agatti in Tamil. So all this menu card also rishis have given what all to cook. So on Parana you have to have, and on Dwadashi Tithi it is always nice to call someone home and serve them food. This is Atithi Devo Bhava. Tithi is a day. So traditionally, in case you have seen your grandfathers, grandmothers in Bharata Desham, they will always cook more quantity. Even your mothers will not be able to cook less. Every day there will be some food. Why traditionally you always had food, because if somebody comes uninformed to your house, you have to serve them food. But today nobody can come uninformed. You have to tell the tithi, you have to tell that particular what you will eat, when will you come, sir, how much will you eat, how many chapatis, will you have this, we will finally say, no, I won't eat at all, don't worry. So only when you come uninformed of the tithi, you are called atithi. Today we are only tithis, not atithis, because we inform the tithi and go. So, on the day of Dwadashi, one particular Dwadashi Tithi, early in the morning, Durvasa came. Durvasa was an Amsha of Shiva, very known, extremely famous for giving curses. Every now and then he will curse. So, nobody could live with him. Vasa means to live. Durvasa, nobody can live with him. So, he was called Durvasa. So, generally, when I conduct yatras, heritage tours, I ask someone, oh, namaskaram mami, very happy to have you. Didn't mama come? Who will bring that Durvasa? She will say. So she is very well adept in Bhagavatam. So that man is a very angry man. Who will bring him? So this Durvasa Maharshi, he came and informed Ambarisha, Ambarisha, can I join you for Parana today? Surely Maharshi, you're welcome. Go take bath and come. So he went away to take bath. By the time he came, he took a long time, and you have to complete that Parana within a certain time. So instead of waiting for him, what Ambarisha did was, instead of waiting to have food with him, he took the waters of Tulasi, consumed those waters. While he was consuming, look at this as a screenplay of a movie. In that gap, Durvasa came. So Durvasa got angry. He said, how dare you disrespect me like this? He performed a yagam called Vyabhichara Yagam. Like, it's equivalent to black magic or occult. So he created a Kritya. This Kritya is generally that which fulfills whatever the master asks. Like that house elf, what comes in that? Derby, like Derby. They will Dobby, Dobby. Like how Dobby does, this will do. In Bharata Desham, if you pay 200 rupees, they will come and break those soda bottles like that. These are krityas. So this kritya was commanded to go and attack Ambarisha. So this kritya went. At that point in time, Sudarshana appeared. Sudarshana is the chakra of Narayana. It burnt kritya and it started chasing Durvasa. So Durvasa was being chased by Sudarshana chakra. He went house after house. They all put outside, do not disturb. Privacy, please. So he went everywhere and finally went to Karya Vaikuntha. He went before Bhagavan. And when he went before Bhagavan, Bhagavan said, you have come to me assuming that I am the Lord and devotees are subservient to me. Realize, Durvasa, aham bhakta paradinaha. I am the one who is subservient to my devotees. The devotees are subservient to me. Whatever they say, I will eat. Today, in my house, if I am a bit sick, I offer him 2 slices of bread. Krishna will have that. Tomorrow if I make nice rabdi with malpua, he will have. Whatever we give, he will eat. So he's subservient. I am subservient to my devotees. Aham bhakta paradhino hrasvatantra ivadvijat. So don't even ask forgiveness from me. Go and ask it from Ambarisha. So this Durvasa goes all the way to Ambarisha and says, Ambarisha, please forgive me. Then Ambarisha invokes the grace of Sudarshana and says, Sudarshana, this is a great Maharishi. You should not chase him. Aisa mat karo, Sudarshan. So Sudarshana namastubhyam sahasraya achyuta priyaha sarvastra ghatin vipraya swasti bhuyo idaspate. Idaspate, hey Bhagavan, please forgive him. So as the grace of Sudarshana was invoked, Sudarshana went away. And Ambarisha Charitram is a beautiful reminder that you should not be hurting the devotees of Bhagavan. So that is why I told you at the start itself, it is better to keep quiet rather than engaging in unnecessary altercation. That is when Parikshit had a doubt. Badarayana yetatte shrotumichhamahe vayam hariryatha gajapatim grahagrastumamuchuchat tatkatha sumahat punyam dhanyam swastyayanam shubham yatra yattottama shloko bhagavan giyate harihi. He says that I have heard that there was an elephant. That elephant was extremely devoted to Bhagavan. Tell me about that elephant whose one of its limbs was caught in the jaws of a crocodile. So the first story grandparents will tell their grandchildren is this Gajendra Moksha. There they will enact Gajendra Moksha. The grandmother will be Narayana and grandfather will be the crocodile. This is the only moment she can take revenge on that man. So, yatra yattottama shloko bhagavan giyate harihi. Most of the avatars that we all know from our Puranas appeared north of Vindhyas. Krishna avataram, Rama avataram, Narasimha avataram, Varaha avataram, Kapila avataram. Then another associated question that your children may ask. Pati, you keep telling us about all these avatars from the Puranas. Why did they happen only in Bharata? Why not in Germany? They will ask, right? Why all avatars? See, Bhagavan is not geography specific. He doesn't say, I will go only to Nariman Point and take avataram. I will be born only in Baswangudi. I will take birth only in Vesmambalam. I will take birth only in Vasant Vihar. No, for him, the entire, when we see, Sanatana Dharma is not region specific. He could be born in Scotland. He could be born in St. Louis. He can be born in Melbourne, anywhere. But remember, avatars are many in number. Don't restrict it to Dashavataram. We often ask, sir, in some Dashavatar there is Balram, in some avatars there is Buddha. First of all, he has plenty of avatars. Dashavataram is top 10 songs. Like how we say top 10 songs of this week, top 10 avatars. It can vary. Many avatars are there. So avatars are many in number. He can be born anywhere. But to know that this is an avatara, you need a man of great enlightenment like the Maharishis. See, Valmiki could sense that the son born to Kaushalya and Dasharatha is Sakshat Bhagavata Avataram. So through Valmiki's words and verses, we understand that Rama is an avataram. Rama never ever said that I am an avatara. He said, Atmanam Manusham Manye Ramam Dasharathatmajam. I am a human being just like you all. See, when my wife is being kidnapped, I cry. Dekho, main aap logon jaisa hoon. So he kept on proving that he is a human. But Valmiki said, no. Which human gives moksham? See, when Rama was searching for Sita, he saw the dying bird Jatayu. He cried. He should have stopped there. Suddenly he wiped his tears and said, Gachalokan anuttaman, I grant you moksham, go to moksham. Valmiki underlined that line. See, no normal human being. Suppose you see some deer on the road. Oh dear, you go to moksham. Deer will ask us back, will you go to moksham first? You are granting me moksham, will you go? So no normal mundane human being can give moksham. So Rama is shown as a Paramatma's avataram by Valmiki. See, avatars can be anywhere. But the rishis that we all know were incidentally from Bharatadesham. So if your children ask why are avatars found only in Bharatadesham or the Indian subcontinent, please clear their doubt. Avatars are many in number. He could have been born in the sky near the northern lights also. Who knows? But to recognize that, you need a Maharishi, a man of great knowledge, to tell you that this is no normal boar, this is Varaham. This is no normal tortoise, this is Kurma. This is no normal fish, it is a Ekashringi Matsya. This is no normal person, this is Balarama. So you need a Rishi to recognize that. So this Gajendra Moksham is one of those rarest avatarams that happened south of the Vindhyas, as per Bhagavatam, by the banks of river Tamraparani in the state of Tamil Nadu, in a village called Attalanallur. So there was a beautiful elephant, very majestic. This majestic elephant used to be going to a pond. But our grandmothers will make a small change here. They will say that the elephant went, it used to pluck flowers and used to offer to the Bhagavan in the nearby temple. All that is not there in Bhagavatam. It plucked only as a style symbol. It just plucked that lotus from that pond. It plucked lotus, that too lotus in Tamil Nadu. That is the beauty here. So it plucked that lotus in Tamil Nadu and held that lotus in its trunk. And as it held, the other female elephants were seeing from the behind. They were all very proud of this elephant. They took one selfie. Now don't ask me if those that is mentioned. Selfie is not there. But those female elephants seeing this male elephant is there in Bhagavatam. Now this elephant plucked that lotus, held it in its trunk and wanted to exit the pond. 3 of its limbs came out. 1 of its limbs was caught. It tried to remove, but it couldn't. Suddenly it turned and saw that that limb was caught in the jaws of a very ferocious crocodile. Simple. Every day if you go to Masai Mara, you will see this. This Gajendra Moksham incident is a very simple incident. Elephant taught crocodile conflict. You will see that if you go check National Geographic Channel, you will see. But why does it feature in Bhagavatam? There is an important reason, I'll tell you later. Now, it tried to fight. Take that limb out of the crocodile's mouth. That fight went on. That is when one of the poets in the Telugu language, Potanna, he says, Kari diguchu makari sarasiki kari darikini makari diguchu kara kari berayan kari makariki makariki kari sara manuchu natala kutula batulura rudupadan. See the way it fought. He says in Telugu language how it fought. It couldn't take its limb out. The other female elephants tried to pull this elephant from the other 3 limbs out of the pond. As such, one limb is being pulled by this crocodile. In the guise of helping, the other elephants are pulling the other 3 legs. Such people are called Upakara Shatru. Some people, in the guise of helping us, will trouble more than our enemies. So there was this fight. This fight went on and on. Finally, this elephant couldn't withstand that pain. And at that one moment, it became a Jati Smara. I told you today, you remember? 1 in a lakh can remember their previous Janma. This elephant could remember what it was, who it was. Indradyumnaha Pandya Khandadirajas Bhaktatma Chandanadrau Kadachit Tvatsevayam Magnadhihi Aluloke Naivagastyam Praptamatithyakamam. There used to be a king of the Pandya Desha called as Indradyumna. Indradyumna used to be extremely engaged in austerities to Bhagavan. He was doing Archana. Achyutaya Namaha, Anantaya Namaha, Govindaya Namaha. He used to be meditating. One day, this rishi who was very short, he was called Agastya. Aga means the one who has stopped the growth of the mountains. Agastya. He was called Kumbha Muni. Kumbha Muni means See, I wouldn't want to coax science and religion. That is not my intent. But if at all you have to remember something that we all see today as an assisted reproductive technique called as IVF. he must have not exactly been IVF, but some assisted technique, because he's called Kumbha Muni. Because in vitro fertilization, the fertilization of the egg ovum happens outside the body and then it is planted. Here we have Kumbha Muni. It is believed that he was born of a certain Kumbham. That is why Muthuswami Dikshita says, Pura Kumbha Sambhava Munivara Prapujitam Trikona Madhyagatam Murari Pramukha Dyupasitam Mooladhara Kshetra Sthitam. So this particular Kumbha Muni called Agastya, he came into the kingdom of Indradyumna, saw Indradyumna. Indradyumna was engaged in austerities. He didn't want to stop. So he nodded his head. Bhuta bhavya bhavat prabhu bhuta krit bhuta pritpavo bhutatma bhuta pavanaha bhuta. That's how, because Sahasranamam, especially those of you who know Vishnu Sahasranamam by heart, you also know there is a disadvantage. If you leave it somewhere in the middle without concentrating, you will never finish that Sahasranamam. It will go on a hyperloop. So this man did not want to stop. So he nodded his head. Agastya was generally a very seasoned personality. That day he was in bad mood swing. So he got very angry and he cursed, stating that you nodded your head like an elephant that keeps nodding and disrespecting me. So you shall be born as an elephant. So eventually at the end of this Janma, when the Atma left this king's body, it was born as an elephant. That elephant was this. So this elephant managed to remember its previous Janma and invoked Bhagavan's grace. So it said, Adi Bijaya. Adi Bijaya means the one who is the causeless cause. See, be very careful with that word. He did not invoke the cause. He said, I invoke that cause who doesn't have a cause for himself. Causeless cause. In Tamil, it is called Adi Moolame. In Sanskritam, Adi Bijaya. So, traditionally, if you see movies of the 1980s, the hero will go to the top of a mountain and say, Rekha, Rekha, Rekha. You can listen only Ka. That Re you cannot listen. Rekha, Rekha, Ka, Ka. So similarly, Adi Moolam, first cause. In that Adi was not heard, only cause was heard. This was heard by Indra in his Indra Loka, and he said, Shachi, somebody is calling me, mujhe jana hai, Airavat ko bulao, Airavat, come here. And food was packed for him, some coconut rice. So he packed that and took that along. He sat on Airavata and said, Airavat, chalo. And it started. Meanwhile, Saraswati Devi, she was playing the veena. She said, Brahmaji, you have been called, you also start. So he took some white sauce pasta or lasagna and went. Next, Shiva and Parvati. Both of them are great dancers. See, generally when you look at these matrimonial ads, they'll say, we would like to see a partner who's also CA, who has completed 3 levels of CFA, who has got charter. They are taking daughter-in-law, son-in-law, they're recruiting for their company, we don't know. So, Shiva is a dancer, his wife is also a dancer. So, Parvati Devi said, Shivji, aap bhi jaiye. So, he started on Rishabhavahanam. They all left. As they left, that Adi Shabdam was heard. Narayana did not leave Vaikuntham. He is reclining. See, Uranguvadu pol yoga seyyum Perumal, says Alvar. Always enjoying sleep. See, how will you enjoy sleep? See, for me, I keep traveling for lectures. Invariably, my Purva Janma Karma, my flight will be at 4 a.m. For that, I have to reach the airport at 2 a.m. Then I'll keep an alarm for 12 in the midnight. 10:30, I will wake up once and see if it is 12. 11 o'clock, I will check. 11:30, I will sit and wait for the alarm to ring. That is my Purva Janma Karma. Then I will wake up, then go there, spend time in the airport. Same thing, I have to take this belt, you have to take that coat. Then generally I try to be as clear as possible because I'll keep my laptop separately. In certain airports, they'll say, take your footwear out. So I'll keep the footwear in that, another tray. That person who checks will be complete Advaita. He'll say, why 2 trays? He'll keep those 2 padukas on the laptop. Adiroharya padabhyam paduke hemabhushite. So all this we do. So then I have to go. See, the point is, Bhagavan enjoys sleep. Enjoyment, that bliss. I grew up under the love of my grandparents in my life. If at all I have to account my golden period, it is the love that I received from them. My grandfather used to be serving the bank for 39 years. And the one condition that my grandmother laid was, after you retire, I will not brew the coffee. You have to do it. So morning 4 a.m. religiously he'll wake up. First of all, he will ensure that he gets the correct coffee powder. He'll go to that coffee shop. It has to be roasted in front of him. 80% coffee, 20% chicory. He has to bring that coffee powder in. There used to be 2 layers, layer 1, layer 2. Then he will add coffee powder in layer 1, little sugar. If you add little sugar to that coffee powder, then your decoction will be thick. Try that. Okay, then hot water. He used to add piping water. You get decoction. He'll put that decoction again, double decoction he used to use. And then 5 o'clock in Bangalore, we used to get Nandini. You know Nandini? That milk. So that is white water. So you will have to take lot of efforts to separate the water content from the milk. Finally, you will get some good milk. Then he used to mix that milk and decoction in the right proportion, put it in that cup and that tumbler, and at about 5:45 a.m. we used to get the Hindu paper when it used to be good. So then he used to roll that coffee and drink sip by sip. That is bliss. See, similarly, sleeping. When you sleep, morning when you wake up, you should not have any tension. Bhagavan is like that. Uranguvadu pol yoga shayum perumal shantakaram bhujaga shayanam padmanabham suresham. See, somebody is pressing your feet. What kind of great life it will be. Jagan Mata is pressing that feet. Thai massage. Yeah. Thai. What great life. So everybody left. The elephant is calling. Indra left. Shiva left. Brahma left. Bhagavan did not bother. He kept sleeping. Suddenly that echo completed that full word. Adi Moolam. Moolam was only heard. Now Adi was heard. Causeless cause. Immediately Bhagavan left. Those people stopped. Causeless cause was called. So those people returned home. Shachi Devi. Vandutela Tirumbi. எதுக்கு வந்தேள்? உங்களை யார் கூட்டா இப்ப? கொஞ்ச நாழியாவது போய் தொலைய மாட்டேங்கிறேன். No, I came. See, in my school days, standard, people used to bring different kinds of dishes. My grandmother used to send one standard recipe, curd rice. In that middle, there'll be that raw mango. Rasa mandala madhye. So I used to carry that to school. So when I used to go to school, it is very wrong to tell that today, politically incorrect, but as a student, we used to pray something should happen to our president or prime minister because we will have one day leave. So they used to send us back home. So that day we had that wish, something hot I will have. That day my grandmother, she'll never waste food. She'll say, open your dabba, have the same food. So Shachi Devi, Shiva, everybody, they all had the same dabba food. They all returned. Now Bhagavan jumped from his serpent couch. Lakshmi did not realize, kya hua hai inko? What happened to him? He started running. He pulled Garuda. Garuda was resting for some time. He pulled Garuda to a certain distance, sat on him and said, go. Garuda said, put that drop point, sir. Drop point, where should I go? I am like Ola. Only if you tell where to go, I will go. Go, my child is suffering. Garuda said, I will go, but tell me where. That Gajendra is suffering. So Bhagavan left. As he was about to reach that particular pond where the elephant was suffering, he stood on that Garuda. See, we used to take, I don't know how many of you are either from Chennai or Bangalore. Many of you. So there used to be a train, even now, called Brindavan Express. It will stop in 57 stations. Wherever there is platform, it will stop. Wherever there is no platform also, it will stop. So, as we reach Bangalore, we used to get a place called Whitefield. So, we will take all our luggage and go near the door. We have to get down only in the city station after cantonment. We will take all the luggage and go, because our belief was if we go near the door, we will go home early. But most of the traditional trains, they used to stop for half an hour outside. It was called outer. Half an hour you have to keep on waiting. So Bhagavan too stood on Garuda. He wanted to go help Gajendra. He looked right to release Chakra. Chakra was missing. Oh my goodness, I have left that in Vaikuntha. What to do now? He was thinking. Meanwhile, Chakra had gone and done its job. In Tamil, there is a saying, Yelluna Enna, which means you will have to execute what people think. See, when Vishwamitra looked at Rama and said, Vatsarama Dhanuf Pashya iti Raghavam Abravit. He looked at Rama, Vatsa, my dear son, Rama, Dhanuhu Pashya, go see the bow. In Janakapuri, he said, go see the bow. You tell this to your son. Yeah, yes, I saw. He'll come back. But what did he mean? He did not mean just go and see. He said, lift and see. That lift is not there. It is like latent heat, hidden heat. F of X. It is hidden. So, Vatsarama Dhanuhu Pashya, to which the commentator says, Kosalaha Saha Ingitagnaha. Communication need not be always oral. It can be through body language. I have to keep on observing in my lecture how people are reacting, whether they are bored, whether they are listening. 5 minutes who slept for some time. So if you have noticed, sometimes they come near the mic and do that, right? That is intentionally to wake them up. But they won't be aware, because they'll feel hurt. Bhagavata Saptaham is wrong. So I will act as if I didn't see them. Just go on like that. Right? Similarly, when Vishwamitra said, Vatsarama Dhanuhu Pashya, he didn't say lift and see. But looking at the body language of Vishwamitra, Rama knew that he had to lift and see. Similarly, understanding the true intent of Bhagavan, even before Bhagavan said, Chakram had gone and done its job. Bhagavan took that damaged, bruised, injured foot of limb of the elephant from the jaws of the crocodile and started massaging it. He took that lotus flower which had withered because of this conflict and held it in his hand and said, I'm very thankful for submitting this flower. You had to work so hard. The elephant had no intent to submit that flower. Like in Ajamila Upakhyanam, when Narayana Namam was taken, Bhagavan thinks that his Nama was taken, so was Gajendra Moksham. So when he came on Garuda, that Garuda Gati, that is why Acharyas say, we don't want to prostrate or revere to Narayana who came as Gajendra Varada, but my obeisance is to his speed. Bhagavata Stvarayai Namaha, says Parashara Bhatta. That speed with which he came. Garudamakhila Veda Nida Dhirudham Dvishat Pida Notkantita Kuntha Vaikuntha Piti Krita Skanda Mide Swanida Gatif Prita Rudra Sukirtistana Bhoga Gadhopa Guda Spurat Kantakavrata Vedavyatha Vepamana Dvijihwadi Pakalpa Vishparya Manas Patavatika Ratna Rochis Chataraji Nirajitam Kanti Kalloli Nirajitam Jaya Garuda Suparna Darvi Karahara Deva Dipahara Harin Divaukas Patikship ದಂಬೋಳಿ ಧಾರಾ ಕಿಣಾಕಲ್ಪ ಕಲ್ಪಾಂತ ವಾತೂಲ ಕಲ್ಪೋದಯಾನಲ್ಪ ವೀರಾದಿನೋದ್ಯ ಚಮತ್ಕಾರ ದೈತ್ಯಾರಿ ಜೈತ್ರ ಧ್ವಜಾರೋಹ ನಿರ್ಧಾರಿ ತೋತ್ಕರ್ಷ ಸಂಕರ್ಷನಾತ್ಮನ್ ಗರುತ್ಮನ್ ಮರುತ್ಪಂಚಕಾದೀಶ ಸತ್ಯಾದಿ ಮೂರ್ತೇನ ಕಶ್ಚಿತ್ ಸಮಸ್ತೆ ನಮಸ್ತೆ ಪುನಸ್ತೆ ನಮಃ ನಮ ಇದಮಜಹತ್ ಸಪರ್ಯಾಯ ಪರ್ಯಾಯ ನಿರ್ಯಾತ ಪಕ್ಷ ನಿಲಾಸ್ಫಾಲನೋದ್ವೇಲ ಪಾಥೋತಿ ವೀಚಿ ಚಪೇಟಾ ಹತಾಗಾಧ ಪಾತಾಳ ಭಾಂಕಾರ ಸಂಕ್ರುದ್ಧ ನಾಗೇಂದ್ರ ಪೀಡಾ ಶ್ರೀಣೀಭಾವ ಭಾಸ್ವನ್ನಖ ಶ್ರೇಣ ಯೇ ಚಂಡ ತುಂಡಾಯ ನೃತ್ಯ ಭುಜಂಗ ಭ್ರುವೆ ವಜ್ರಿಣೇ ದಂಷ್ಟ್ರಯಾ ತುಭ್ಯಮಧ್ಯಾತ್ಮ ವಿದ್ಯಾ ವಿಧೇಯ ವಿಧೇಯ ಭವದ್ದಾಸ್ಯ ಮಾಪಾದಯೇತಾಶ್ಚ ಮೇ ಮನುರನುಗತ ಪಕ್ಷಿ ವಕ್ತ್ರ ಸ್ಫುರತ್ತಾರ ಕಸ್ತಾವ ಕಶ್ಚಿತ್ರ ಭಾನು ಪ್ರಿಯಾ ಶೇಖರಸ್ತ್ರಾಯ ತಾಮ್ನ ಸ್ತ್ರೀವರ್ಗಾಪವರ್ಗ ಪ್ರಸೂತಿ ಪರವ್ಯೋಮ ಧಾಮನ್ ವಲದ್ವೇಷಿ ದರ್ಪಜ್ವಲದ್ವಾಲಖಿಲ್ಯ ಪ್ರತಿಜ್ಞಾವತೀರ್ಣ ಸ್ಥಿರಾಂ ತತ್ವಬುದ್ಧಿಂ ಪರಾಂ ಭಕ್ತಿದೇನುಂ ಜಗನ್ಮೂಲ ಕಂದೇ ಮುಕುಂದೇ ಮಹಾನಂದ ದೋಗ್ಧ್ರೀಂ ಅಹೀನಾಂ ಅಹೀನಾಂ ಅಹೀನಾಂತಕ. This is called Garuda Dandakam, that describes the flight of Garuda with which Bhagavan came to protect Gajendra. So Gajendra Moksham, if you look at the narration, the conflict between one animal and the other, it is very common in the forest. But what makes it special is that Gajendra had a remembrance of its past, making it a jati smaraha. So while it thought of Bhagavan, Bhagavan came, which proves that help from Paramatma will come in some form or the other. He doesn't have to appear with Shankha Chakram knocking at our door. It can come through any form. When a person is suffering from hunger, somehow somebody will reach out that food for him. That is why we say Deivam Manushya Rupena. It can come in some human form. Help will always come. That help through Gajendra Moksham was realized today. Tomorrow we will dedicate our full time to a great devotee called as Prahlada, and thereby the Avirbhavam of Nrisimha from that pillar through Nrisimhavatara Charitram tomorrow. A small time will also be dedicated to Tripura Samharam, again the greatness of Mahadeva Shiva. And day 4, which is Tuesday, tomorrow we will deal with Narasimhavataram and Tripura Samharam. Day 4, which is Tuesday, shall be dedicated to Matsyavataram, Kurmavataram, Vamanavataram, and the very, very momentous Shri Krishna Jananam, the birth of Krishna on day 4, which happens to be Tuesday. Then we will have Krishna Avataram throughout on Wednesday, Thursday and Friday. Till Friday, the timings are as told to you during the evenings. Day 5, day 7, which is Friday of the Saptaham alone, we will be doing it in the morning. So with this, let us conclude for today. Kavitarkika Simhaya Kalyana Gunashaline Srimate Venkateshaya Vedanta Gurave Namaha Swasti Prajabhyah Paripalayantam Nyayena Margena Mahi Mahishaha Go Brahmanebhyah Shubham Astu Nityam Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu Kalyana Rupaya Kalau Jananam Kalyana Datre Karuna Sudhabdhe Kamvadi Divya Yudha Satkaraya Vatalaya Namo Namaste Narayana 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 Anantaramakhya Pranitam Stotram Pathetyastu Narastrikalam Vatalayetascha Kripa Phalena Labheta Sarvani Cha Mangalani Narayana Narayana Gopika Jeevana Smaranam. Some more energy. See, Bhagavatam is a beautiful opportunity for me to be speaking, you all to also be experiencing. That is why the temple has given us this space Annamalai ji has made all the arrangements with his Dharma Patni, Malati ji. So many volunteers are working for it. So just some more energy. Kuduthruva ipa prasadam pogumbodhu irukku. Janakika antasmaranam Gopika Jeevanasmaranam. Namaskaram.
Krishna 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 Krishna